Okay, everybody wants me to do some live trading, so let's look at some examples. I'm going to do a quick sell here. It's counter trending and we haven't got a signal yet, but we've kind of reached up into some levels here. Mainly, I am looking at this dealing range. We've kind of coming up against these levels here, and we're not quite busting through it yet. It could still reverse and come up and grab this midline here. I'm not sure, but we are in an uptrend, so I don't like taking shorts here. So I'm just trying to catch a quick little reversal into this area here. So that's really all I'm trying to catch right here. I'm just trying to catch in the middle of this, just to start generating some little bit of funding here. Nothing crazy. I'm not up very much today. Just did 325 in one account, and I'm at 280 here. I don't feel very confident about this trade until we would get a clear, like this is a clear sell pattern here that I would take. We see the stochastics falling down. Pretty happy with that. So that would be a valid trade. This is probably just a quick pullback to potentially go up and grab this. Dealing range, let's talk about that. What a dealing range is, we would go from the hourly chart, and you want to mark up the obvious range. This is the obvious range. You are looking for a couple things. You're looking for some consolidation in the hourly time frame. You're looking for a manipulation move. These are all indications that this is now a valid dealing range. You want this range to take buy side and sell side liquidity on this consolidation move. So we took sell side and we took buy side of this range, and the range just kept going until it got to a topping point, and then now is starting to produce this. From there, we put our quadrants up. All this is the 1.755 marked in red, 0.25, and then the 0 line on the hourly chart. I'll then zoom in and take the next range that grabbed buy side and sell side after some consolidation. So this is just the most active range here, especially after a flush. So you could put those quadrants on a big move down that's got some distribution into it. So you want to take and put a quadrant on that just to get an idea. Are we at the midline of it? Are there any efficiencies close to any of these levels? And this is an ICT concept. Grabbing an inefficiency like we did down here, there's a major order block at the very beginning of this drive right here. And you could use this as a guidance to get an idea of what's going on. Let's see, where would that have gone? There's our fair value gap. You could take this order block here. That will be a significant level if price comes down into this. This is a good liquidity draw because this is the up close candle on the downward move at the beginning of the range. Anything that is at any of these primary levels, especially the midline, upper and lower levels, then again at the 2.5 and the 7.5, any inefficiency that's on these levels, this is something you want to pay attention to. This would be something that you'd want to pay attention to. Where would that be at? This order block here counts, for example, because this is a up close candle from a downward move that's creating an order block, which is now a propulsion block because price came down to it right at the midline and propelled back up again. And price is fractal. You'll see this on a 15-minute chart. You'll see this on a 5-minute chart to do your entry. course, my internet's wigging out, of course, now. So when I'm looking for my overall setup, I like to be on the 15-minute chart because I like to get an overall view. Because, of course, we have our algos that tells us what's going on in the here and now. And I even drew my dealing range on this big downward move because this tells me where in the algo are we trending to. We came down here at the dealing range got established and we held the 75. We tried taking the 50. We failed, came back down to the 25. I'm sorry, 75. Finally tried to break through it, failed again. Now this is our next attempt to break through it. This time we broke through this midline with some volume. So this is definitely a bullish side. This is definitely a bullish trade that I'd want to look at. I'm surprised we haven't gotten any kind of a major signal off of it because, it's strong enough to break through the VWAP, all the big EMAs, and it's still continuing to the upside to take the upper quadrant level. Stochastics is on our side as well too. If you can see, since we've taken this move, we've been consistently going to the upside on stochastics. What would worry me or concern me is that stochastics are running out now because we're getting to the upper range to the overbought zone. So I'd get a little bit worried. I'd probably say we might be able to come up and run up and attack this 75% level, this upper quadrant level right here. And if we've seen on the main chart, there is an inefficiency that we're finally trading into, like I originally expected here. This inefficiency right here, as we're coming down into it on a 15-minute time frame, we're going to basically start trading right into the midline of this level, I believe. Let me delete this so we get our chart cleared up a little bit. So to me, that's something that I'm looking into. That's something that I'm concerned with. I want to see what's going on with it. There is an indicator that automatically sets these levels up for you. And that indicator is this IPD8 operating range. And you can look up that indicator. It's completely free, and that'll automatically set your upper and lower dealing ranges and then put these gray lines or your quadrant levels, so that might help you identify it. And I like to manually put mine on the hourly and 15-minute. Just gives me an overview of what's going on for the day, so then I could look then into the algos and alignment, see if there's anything that I could see, and then from here get on either my Ninja or get on TradingView and start trading some of the accounts. And that's pretty much it. Did about $2,000 today in trading. I didn't really feel like trading today. I've been working nights and it's really messed with my timing, really. So but right now I'm not interested in a trade because we're kind of in this upper level. We're just at the midline of that big push to the downside, and the algos and the stochastics really aren't showing me much. It's showing that we're getting a little bit exhausted, but as we're getting exhausted and this is starting to become embedded, I'm just looking for this potentially to come in, trade into the cloud, and then push back to the upside again to do a continuation, potentially, because we still have a little ways to go before we reach that inefficiency. So that's what I would say if we were going to look for a trade to tag the midline of that inefficiency up to that 75% range. So that is kind of what I'm looking at doing here. That's where I'm looking for price to go, but I like to take the major sweeps. I like to take the major patterns that are trading. Let's see if this 5-minute finally, here we go. I like to take these major failure patterns, when we're trading into an order block, we're trading into a fair value gap and respecting the consequent encroachment of that inefficiency. So if we're respecting this is a great level for us to be able to take, and okay, now let's try to attack the 2.5. Now let's go ahead and try to attack the 5.0. So as we're looking for entries and we could jump into the actual algorithm, we know which direction we're trading. We're taking longs. We're happy with pretty much any long that we take that makes sense to the dealing range. We want to see a really positive failure to go lower, then get that move to the upside, look for that bullish engulfing candle through the profit wave, and then just take the trade up to the next quadrant. can limit to what you're trading sometimes, but that's still a pretty significant trade. I mean, if you caught the bullish engulfing candle trading to the next quadrant, that's quite a bit of a move right there. Same thing for the upside. Even if you got into it and waited for this bullish engulfing candle and breaking through the cloud and then taking the trade into it as it trends back into it, that's still well over a 120 tick move right there. And it just stays going consistently until you start seeing it breaking down, giving you clues that, hey, yeah, we're going to take the midline, but that's about all the gas we have for this move. The candles are getting smaller, their real time dots are getting to the downside, so we're starting to break down a little bit. These good, thicker, bigger candles, like this is a good, consistent move all the way down. That's the move I like to trade. I don't quite care for trading these too much. I'd probably get out of it as we start to pull back down, in my honest opinion. The stochastics trending up would help support that, especially because we've got a good draw on liquidity. So I might think that it might get one good push to finish it off here. This is what I prefer, consistent downward pressure through the profit wave, targeting the next line here. Now, we did kind of start trending down, but I would have got out of the trade once the 14 and the 9 hit the oversold area. That's kind of where I would probably want to get out of the trade, because yes, we're targeting this next quadrant level, but then when this slams to the bottom and they start to pull back up, I know we're pulling up. I don't know how far we're pulling up, potentially all the way to the profit wave if you're in the move right here. So for me, I just want to go and get out of the trade, especially when I start seeing price coming back up into it, because I don't want to take that entire pullback up into the profit wave, especially if I entered like around here right after the first bearish candle coming through. So that's kind of my trading strategy in a nutshell. There is a lot to unpack there. I'll do a video specifically about the dealing range, what I'm looking for, how we're trading it. But I just wanted to give you all a quick glance of what I look for, what I'm looking to do, and what I expect price to do as it's moving through the quadrants and it's failing them, coming back down to retest them again. We're kind of been in a really big consolidation this afternoon, so there's not a whole lot of trades here, but enough to where I was able to jump on the charts in about 15 minutes and do, like, I don't know, 500 change, something like that. And like I said, I did about 2,000 earlier this morning while I was trading, but that was all during the London pre-market. So a whole bunch to unpack, but you guys wanted to see some live trades and see kind of what I'm looking for settings. I am always very, very cautious when we get an extension move like this, where we did take, the prior level. So clearly there was a prior level here that we're now taking. We went and grabbed it, wicked out, and pulled back down into it, but we still don't have a clear direction of, are we rotating down. So I would want to see a bearish engulfing candle before I took that short. I'd want to see the arrow, and I'd want to see, we've got this stochastic red dot here, so, we are primed for a good move, probably down to one of the EMAs right here, I would say. So if I were to guess, you could get into a sell trade pretty confidently and take something probably down to the EMAs, down to the downside. It may wake up on you here or there and act like it's not going to go in your favor, but even if you just took something to the profit wave just to catch a trade, I'd feel pretty comfortable with that. Like that would be a good move for me. So that'd be something I'd be willing to do. So anyhow, guys, hope this helps for you guys. I hope you all have a great afternoon. I'm happy with what I've done today. Just little bites every time. These aren't, fantastic accounts here. I've got a couple over 51,000. I'm just trading small bits, $300 to $500 a day per account, 2 or 3 accounts a day. I'm very, very happy with that, and see where we're getting to. So we did kind of look down there and grab that real quickly. But, like I said, we've got such bullish support here. You always worry that it's just going to come in, tag this liquidity, and potentially take a move to the upside. So until I see that downward arrow showing me that we have absolutely failed the profit wave and we're looking to come to the downside, I'd want to see some confirmation. Statistics are starting to get that confirmation, but look at how the 9's already to the oversold level. So you kind of want to see everything else starting to curl to the downside. You don't see the 40 curling down yet, it's embedded. You don't see the 60 curling down yet, it's embedded. So that's why I would be a little bit more cautious. I'd want to start seeing everything curling down like you did in this move here. A very nice clean move to the downside where you get your signal, you got your red dot, and it's just consistent. It's not wicking back and forth. It's just completely failing and your stochastics, especially the bigger ones, are now trending and curling down to the downside. So it looks like we did hit that EMA. So yeah, that's some good price action for you. Hope that gives you a little bit of help. Okay, guys, have a great day.